I had an affair in my first marriage, but I do not regret it. I got married to my now ex-husband Mike at 18, a month after I graduated high school. It was absolutely the most stupid mistake I have ever made. But I was young and dumb and thought this man was the one I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. A year after we got married and moved in together, things started getting really bad. Mike began to get extremely verbally and emotionally abusive. Before our marriage, we had a lot of intense fights, but he never would personally attack me until then. He'd attack me for my looks and my body, call me names, threatening to damage my car or sell my dog that I had since I was a little girl, and would even cut me off our bank account at times if he thought I was blowing our money when I had my own income going into that account. One thing Mike never did, though, was physically abusive. He'd punch holes in walls, break our dishes, throw whatever was close to him near my direction, but he never put his hands on me. A little bit after the emotional, verbal abuse started, I discovered that Mike had been sexting girls on Tinder. It broke me. I don't know if he ever met up with anyone. I didn't care to know. We stayed together for some stupid reason, and as far as I know, he never stepped out of our marriage again, but my feelings for him were never the same after that. I thought about leaving him a lot from then on, but I was about 20 at that point and felt too embarrassed to get divorced so soon and at such a young age. But I knew that I wouldn't spend the rest of my life with Mike. I just didn't know when it would end. I was unhappy and truly just waiting to see who would leave first. A couple years go by, and I felt like I no longer had a husband, but a roommate. We stopped being intimate. I felt like his mother more than his wife because I was constantly taking care of him, and he got even more mean towards me. I never once stepped out of my marriage, relationship with my husband, or even had wandering eyes at all up until this point. I was truly 100% faithful to someone who probably didn't even deserve my loyalty. But this man had messaged me, and he was genuinely the most handsome man I had ever seen. Maybe that's heartless of me, but at the time I truly didn't care. Jason was from Canada, and I was in America, so I thought it was going to be innocent flirting back and forth online and never a physical affair. However, I really started developing feelings for Jason, and so did he. For once, I had a man treat me like I was actually cared for, and it really made me rethink my marriage. After 2 months of talking to Jason, I sat down one night and thought, am I going to leave my husband? And decided that night that yes, I was. But not for Jason. I needed to do it for myself. Jason just helped me realize I deserved better, and that there are men out there who wouldn't treat me like garbage. So, that very next day I told Mike that I wanted a divorce. I didn't tell him about Jason though, just that I wanted to leave. I don't know if I thought it would be an easier divorce if I didn't mention Jason, if I tried to let Mike down easy, or if I was just a coward. But to this day Mike still does not know that I had an online affair. Unsurprising, he still didn't take the news well though, and the fight we had was immense. But within a week, I had my things packed up and I was on the road back to my parents' home. Now, up until this point Jason did not know I was married. This is truly the only thing I wish I would have done differently during era of the affair. I should have told him the moment things were getting serious between us, if not before then. I waited until I got back to my parents to tell him that I was married but was getting a divorce. He felt extremely hurt because I hid it from him, and he understandably lost some trust in me. Thankfully, though, he said he did still want to pursue a relationship with me, but only when the divorce was finalized. We flew frequently to one another to see each other after that, and after a year and a half of long-distance dating, I moved to Canada to be with him. Now, it's getting close to a year since I moved, and he's lying in bed asleep next to me, and I truly have never felt happier in my life. I am so absolutely in love with Jason, and for once, it actually feels like my partner loves me the same amount. Our relationship is amazing, and his trust for me has built back up. I can't imagine being with anyone else. I really believe Jason is my soulmate. I know I shouldn't have had the affair, and that was extremely scummy of me. But I honestly do not regret it. Since the night I decided to end my marriage, I knew that even if Jason and I don't work out, I still wanted a divorce, and I would never go back to Mike. I needed to leave that marriage, and I think the affair was the only way I was able to open my eyes and get the push to end it. I do wonder if karma will ever catch up to me for having an affair. I know I villainized Mike a lot in this post, but he wasn't always a bad husband, and we did have good times together. I cannot put all the blame on him for our failed marriage. I was young, insecure, and started arguments a lot. We were both toxic to one another. I know Jason probably worries that one day I might do the same thing to him that I did to Mike. But I can say that I truly don't ever see myself betraying him in any way. I do like to think that although I did cheat on my ex-husband, I can still be a good person that can have good morals and never cheat while in a relationship again. Perhaps Jason deserves someone who hasn't made the same poor judgment calls that I have, but I suppose as long as he trusts me and believes I'm a good person, that's all that matters. Story 2. I'm trapped in a toxic relationship with my best friend, part 1. I'm sorry, I made this longer than it needs to, so I'm going to break it into 2 posts. I'm so sorry. There's so much to this story. I feel so depleted and unseen, like a waste of time. I'd want to give all the context to this, but I don't want to bore anyone and hence feel worse than I already do. Long story short, I've basically been together with my husband, sweetheart, for 8 years now. Met as best friends, turned partners. While in Timp home, mother almost hit my partner. Partner was having searing migraines every day, and the process of rebuilding the house took longer than expected. Moving back to the childhood home, her and I adopted a pup. It felt like all the anguish of my life took a turn. My parents were supporting me, and I have my supposed love of my life along for my creative journey. Wrong. Parents are mad we don't talk to them. I realized it's wrong to force my partner to interact with someone who was going to hit her, and even worse for her to have to overcome that every day just as my brother and I did in all our physical abuse growing up, just to appease people who don't care anyways. They kicked us out. Rather, kicked her out and shamed me for allowing her to live under their roof and not come upstairs to say hi. I left with her. The next few months went towards watching my dog get severely underweight, trying to find a job and a place to stay while living with her mother, and being faced with true homelessness for the first time in my life, if we aren't counting when my mother threatened to throw me out in kindergarten. My partner didn't help me pretty much at all, just contributed monetarily by doing $1 surveys. We catch a break. Her dad lives here, would help us settle, and the family rallied to support us. Couldn't bring anything of mine really. All my belongings for the most part, sentimental stuff, stock I was going to use to start my thrift store. Left it all to be with her. We have our home. We both work at the same job. I'm being trained to be a manager and she is getting a raise for being such an exceptional worker. I thought things were cool. She emotionally cheated, rather acknowledged that a supposed platonic relationship between her and a friend we met over past crossed boundaries. I unfortunately saw the text. She confessed she had impulse to hide it. Here's a few memories, and I quote, "I'm going to share what means the most to me to the one who means everything to me. Sometimes I wish I could leave work and I'm in your city and I can just come see you. Whether I like it or not, I feel safest, closest, and the most comfortable with you over anyone else. I'm looking to see you in like 3 months or so." The friend in question even was taken aback. He acknowledged that I should have these titles that she is bestowing onto him after a month or so of conversation. All she did was double down. I had a panic attack for the first time in my life, and it lasted for 6 hours. I couldn't sleep. When I confronted her, all I got was her playing the victim. To this day, it feels like anytime I bring it up to make sense of whatever is going on, that it falls on deaf ears. She told me she drowns me out, that it reminds her of her trauma as a kid, having to sit there as a parent talks. She told this dude so many things that makes me question everything. I don't feel like a best friend. I don't feel like I matter to her, or that she'll actually take the time to truly change. I don't feel like I'm the one who stopped her from deleting herself and got her out of depression time and time again. When I asked about the legitimacy of her words, when I asked what are these cycles that has you questioning everything, she basically said it's all not true. But how could you even say those things if it isn't true? I don't like going to others about my relationship or giving anyone a negative opinion on my partner or our relationship in general. It's for 2 partners to communicate with each other. She's trapped me. I felt such anger that she would be lying next to me saying these things. While I'm going through all this hardship with her, she wasn't going through all this hardship with me. I'm trying to build our finances toward a better future since my parents sabotaged us. Meanwhile, she's over here blasting my ass for taking money to buy a Four Loko beer. I can plan a whole trip to Washington to, and I quote, cuddle with him. Nothing wrong with friendship, but talk about priorities when we're just about to pay off debts and actually have full checks we can enjoy, save, and plan with. She has been running this whole relationship. Whatever she wants, however she wants it. She's made me cut people out of my life. She's made me stay in when I wanted to go out. She controls what we watch, how we do things, and for some reason she's a perfect little angel for everyone else but can't look at me in the eyes and tell me why she gives more effort elsewhere instead of this 8-year-long relationship. She got me where she wanted me. I didn't want to be tied down too early. I thought I could trust her. I thought we were close, that I mattered. I left my family, my privilege, my friends, potential partners, my brother. I have lost everything and told her I wasn't going to leave her or shame her. She's done horrible SHT in the past that, since I love her so much, I moved on from. Woe is me for loving someone so much to not let them live every day walking on eggshells, to not hold them accountable since they should be holding themselves accountable. She makes it seem like a chore to recognize that she rolled her eyes, that she has to actually show some effing effort. I'm not a difficult person. I baseline interactions off of reciprocity. Don't have effing 100 years to live. At least if it's not with the person who said she wants that with me. It'd be fine if I was allowed to be my own person. She weaponized her emotions and mental health to coerce me into dropping everyone and anything. So much so that I don't have a family. I don't have friends to talk to. Talking with her is oh so painful and difficult. I don't know any other women to speak to. I don't have a therapist. I don't have what she so easily can find. This comfort that reflects on her attachment issues. This account I even made to try and release here what I cannot elsewhere. She's left me with nothing besides this. I even subscribed to a woman's OnlyFans just so I could have someone to chat to, only to lose that desire to dump all that on her and letting go of the hope. Chance that it could be positive and comforting, shaming myself for speaking for too long and proceeding to release as much as I can hear. I have never cried in my life, only when my father beat me. He took that ability away and made crying only a response to intense pain. I cry in a literal sense and have been crying out for help. Nobody is at my aid. Everyone who could have been she made me cut off. And what do I have now? Nothing. I wish I had what the F she had. I have nowhere to take this. Nowhere and no one to rationalize and analyze this with me. That she's wasted my time, that I was right all along, that she was the resistance in my life that has held me back, us back, that she's just like the other toxic women in my past. Except, I love her. I may deal with alexithymia or anything else that would hinder my ability to physically feel that love. But despite that setback, I had to come to a place of closure, acceptance, and acknowledgement that I love her. I just don't know what to do with myself anymore. I have lost my creative inspiration, and what still has me going besides who I am at the core. What a future is like anymore when I could have avoided being taken advantage of by everyone around me, and just followed my heart. And I can't even feel the sadness it long left when I disassociated in front of her, smiling and chuckling as tears streamed endlessly down my eyes. Whoever did, if anyone did, it's more than I've received from anyone I have ever known in my entire life. I just want to be enough. Comment, hey there Opus, I'm very sorry to hear what you have been going through. Emotionally, mentally, and financially your life has been draining. I will start off by saying that your story has so many similarities to a relationship that I had. I also faced poverty. At one point we lived out of our Ford Escapade for a week while desperately looking for a new apartment. My partner cheated on me multiple times. She emotionally abused me. and thought it was their right to seek out other people because I wasn't trying enough after they cheated and was given a month to get over it. I would recommend talking to her about this, seeing if she really wants to work on your relationship and commit. Otherwise, please leave. Hopefully you two can work this out, and if not, hopefully you get some clarity on your situation. I really hope you get some rest and recover. Sending you hugs.